Well, the move to the SEC, people listening on radio, listening on TV, I'm very much into an old school kind of guy. I like a middle of the country kind of conference, like a regionalism. Understand why they did leave. If you're going to compete in the SEC, recruiting has to step up. It was doing that in the Lincoln Riley, but again, the 2022 class, the 23 class have taken some massive hits. Can you come back and put those classes together? One thing Oklahoma has to do is get more physical as a defensive football team. That's right up Brent Venables' alley. He's a really good defensive coordinator, and bringing those kinds of plays in that can do that is going to be the key to competing in the Southeastern Conference whenever they get there. 2025. I'd say they couldn't get there before 2023. Whenever they get to 23, 24, 25 at the latest, they've got to get the recruiting up. And they were starting to do that under Lincoln Riley. That's taken a hit. Brenda's got to bring that back before they get there.
Stay away from the
Well, like I said, the word is it's going to be Jeff Levy as offensive coordinator, and that's going to be a key to convincing the Caleb Williams to stay. He was there today, so I think it looks like his family. They moved here last year, his senior in high school, where he didn't play football, so they really like him. But who is your offensive coordinator? That helps you recruit. Brent's a defensive guy. First things first, you got to figure out how much his current staff keeps around. A guy like Gil Gundy, who's been here, he's the last remaining of our original staff in 1999.
What's up?
Calvin Thibodeau, Marco Murray, Joe John Finley, all who were here when Brent was here as a coach. They were players. Jamar Kane, outside linebacker coach. Really good recruiter, Bill Beaton, really good offensive line coach. Those are the guys that are left from the Lincoln Riley staff who didn't go to USC. How many of those guys stay? It's thought that Joe Castiglione, the athletic director, probably wanted to keep some of those guys. How many, who knows? As a head coach, generally you want to bring in your guys. How many of those guys stay on the staff? Which I think is a way to see. That's also a big part of recruiting, your staff. Because the head coach can't recruit them all. I mean, these guys stay around. But Brent, because he's been here before, has some inroads. He knows the lay of the land as far as the country. Plus, he's got inroads in the Southeast and all down here in London for 2012 and now. So he's got a pretty good lay of the land here and beyond. He's a good
Huh? Yeah, they have a bunch.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and now they're
No. Where here?
That's something, again, is it Jeff Levy? Is it someone else? Lincoln was a spread offense guy. You go to the Southeastern Conference, it's a physical brand of football, both offense and defense. But here's something to remember. Oklahoma ran a spread. But unlike the spread of others around the country, Texas Tech, Oklahoma brought a physical running game. Bill Beaton's offensive line were very physical. A number of those guys in the NFL, not just in the NFL, but started.
Good to see you.
So offensively, they were a physical team. Even though they went very well. I think the biggest changes that you're going to look to see is defensively. Are you going to get a more physical brand of football on the defensive side? You talk to a lot of ex-players, that's what a lot of those guys complain about. They see that kind of athlete, that kind of physical range that they think they need to really win ball that you're going to try to football. So I think the biggest change we'll see is defensively, offensively. Kevin Blue, the offensive coordinator, will have a better handle on this.
Stop my first move. No, I'm a good player. You've been counting up to while the seconds are going.
We're good. You got to play
playing more, right? The other
You think we have that? There's a after
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
what was the deal? Well, our deal was score touchdowns over the damn table. It was like very impressive. So we gotta stop that. What do we do? If you have that, you'll have Brent, yeah, his parent, Phil's going touchdowns all the time. You'll like me. Some people in this room would know that more than others.
All right, good to see everybody this afternoon. Thank you for being here on this very, very special day at the University of Oklahoma. We are joined by new head football coach Brent Venables and vice president and athletics director Joe Castiglione. So we will begin with some very brief opening remarks and we'll get to questions. Coach Venables has to hit the recruiting trail. We're going to be limited to approximately 30 minutes. We'll get to as many people as we can. Coach?
Joe, we already did an audible, so we figured I'll go quickly. First of all, thank you all for being here, and just appreciate everybody's patience. It's been a quick week, but one that. Why is everybody raising their hand? I'm sorry?
Just letting you know that.
I was about to call on you all. You know, I'm a professor. Someone raise their hand in the classroom, I'm calling on you. Okay. I didn't get that signal, so sorry. But in any event, we're obviously thrilled to be here today with our new head football coach, Brent Venables. I want to take time to thank quite a few, not going to name them, but quite a few people that are part of processes. You know, these processes are complicated, and at the time you're trying to move it forward very, very quickly, thoroughly, comprehensively, to try to make sure we get our decisions right and based on the right things. And so I, just by generalization, thank everybody that was part of that. And secondly, I want to thank Coach Stoops. We were here just a week ago and discussing our interim transition. He's been incredible, as he always has been. He's stepped up, stepped forward, leaned in, and has really helped bring everybody together during what has been a tough week for a lot of people. And yet people have come together just like we always do here at the OU family. So thank you to Coach Stoops, and as you know, he'll be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame tomorrow night. So with that, I'll answer questions later, but right now I'd like to turn it over to the person that is, it's still probably going to be real special every time we say this, sinking in, the head football coach at the University of Oklahoma, Brent Venables.
Thanks, Joe. It's great to be here today. Thank you again all for coming. It's kind of surreal for me to look around and see so many familiar faces and see a bunch of friends out here, and just an amazing journey here these last few days. Again, as I said earlier, if you would have asked me, 10 years ago, as I walked out of my office for the last time, and if I thought I'd be here 10 years later as the head football coach, I would have told you needed to check yourself into a mental institution. And the biggest reason is, it's just, this is Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is a special place, and there's a lot of incredible coaches out there, and that's where I have as much respect for the coaching profession. A lot of options, lots of choices, and so again, just grateful to be here. Really looking forward to the opportunities. The number one thing for me and my family as I looked at this opportunity was the leadership here. And people in the profession know Joe Castiglione, Joe Harris, the Board of Regents, the leadership in this university. It's first of all, it's first class, and secondly, they're about their business. They know what they're doing. They're very professional in everything that they do. The alignment is very real. It's very tangible. The direction, the focus, and the commitment is second to none. They don't take a backseat to anybody. And so as a football coach, that's what you're always looking for. If you're going to align yourself as a head football coach, you need to make sure that everything's in place from a resource standpoint, from a commitment standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. And so Oklahoma, again, has that reputation, and being behind the scenes from that standpoint, could verify that. Again, take a backseat to nobody. So to partner with this leadership was a no-brainer for me. To have the opportunity to be the next football coach at Oklahoma, something that you have to look at, that you can't turn down. And I've been very patient my career. I'm a very faith-driven decision maker. And when this call came, however long ago it was, you lose sense of days, as you all know, in this process. This one was special, and I just again appreciate the leadership and their belief in me, and their faith in me and my leadership and my ability to be the head football coach here. Truly blessed beyond what I deserve. So again, I'll open it up however they want, and just again, great to be here. Just really thankful.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Coach. We'll go to questions. We'll begin on the left. Ryan Aber, the Oklahoman.
Yeah, Brent, I want to ask you, how did the last decade at Clemson prepare you for this? And what are some of the specific things that you've taken from that got you ready for this day? And also, will Tyler play in the bowl game for Clemson or come here immediately?
Yeah, so I think I made a statement earlier that in the last 10 years I've grown more as a coach, as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a dad to my girls, as a believer. All those areas that, from a holistic standpoint, are incredibly important. And I think getting out of your comfort zone, and we know in our different professions, it's one of the hardest things that you can go through. And so for me, that was a very hard transition. I thought, I'm Johnny Super Coach. I've got all this incredible pedigree and resume and association. Man, I'm this, hot shot coach. I'm a winner. And what I learned at 40 years old in a very humbling way is you got to start over. And you got to start over with relationships. You can't bring your street cred with you. You have to earn that. It takes a lot of work, whether that's with players or with colleagues. It also gave me an opportunity just to kind of scale everything down and build it from scratch from the X's and O's standpoint. Coach Sweeney is an amazing leader. He's got every quality that you would want in a human being. Best man I've ever been around. But he pours into his coaches as much as he pours into his players. And so it's really in every area that prepared me. Obviously, he equipped me and empowered me and allowed me to do the things within the confines of his vision, to be a leader and inspire and challenge and to grow and to compete. And so again, you just go down that checklist of all the areas that I've grown. Just a lot of wisdom. And again, I think the biggest thing is just when you leave and get away from home, and you've got to really find yourself. And so that's what it really allowed me to do. And then he coaches coaches as well as anybody that I've been around. Yeah, so I would believe he would, right now his intention is to stay there and play in the bowl game. Yeah, you bet.
We'll stay in front. Eric Bailey, Tulsa World.
Welcome back to Norman. I wanted to ask you, I got a question for Joe too, but I want to ask you, you talk about recruiting. How important is it to really keep a good relationship with Caleb Williams? Have you had a chance to talk to him about staying here at Oklahoma? I know there's a lot of, with the portal, a lot of things can happen with the coaching change. And then for Joe, the hire came 7 days after you got the news. And was he an early target? And was there why did it take so long, I guess? Was it someone you could have named earlier in the week?
So I have spoken to Caleb, reached out to him and his father yesterday, and connect with his father here later. Whether it's Caleb or anybody else, everybody talks about recruiting and going to get the next class and the next class after that even. There's nobody that's more important to recruit than your players every day. And you do that with relationships. You do that with connectivity. You got to, again, reach them the right way and always be, on guard, if you will, with, again, the ability that we as adults, we've laid out there. There's no reason for pause. And we've all been 17, 18, 19-year-old young people. There's a reason that insurance for a 17-year-old is a lot more expensive than it is 24-year-old. It's called judgment. And so, again, there's no reason to pause. And, so the portal's a very real thing, with all of your players. But that I've always believed in continuing to nurture your relationships. Don't get so caught up in the recruiting that you lose sight of what's most important, what's in your locker room, because it's the lifeblood of your program.
So, Eric, Coach was my first call, but I think, and he would agree, I owe it to the University of Oklahoma and to him and his candidacy to have a process. And a process is all-encompassing, and there are many facets of it. And, in the end, regardless of what decision we make, it fortifies, it validates, it clarifies everything about what is needed in leadership, alignment, commitment, structure, support, and how we're going to go about doing this together, because that's what it's all about at the University of Oklahoma. So I know sometimes people think, well, there's that person, they're right there, why don't you just go hire them? Well, sometimes and occasionally there may be a reason why you just do it instantaneously, because you've been with them and watched them, and it just, in that situation, it might have made sense. But that doesn't mean it makes sense in every situation. And I think in this case, the process itself was important, and we moved it quickly. And the other part is, and we weren't just dealing with the process of hiring a coach. Obviously, we didn't expect to be in a coaching search a week ago. And we had to deal with all the other, I guess you could say, connectivity to what that change meant. Players, coaching staff, university, fans, everybody had a reaction to it. And we're managing that. At the same time, we're trying to put the